I'd rather do ugly than say something stupid.
You want to touch up with...
Just in case. I don't think I'll. It's fine.
I think वो मुश्किल है बहुत. The
Yeah.
first statement that you made.
Yeah.
No, just say it.
How?
Okay, go for it. Give me the emotion and then we'll go for it.
Angry.
You're starting with angry.
Okay. How do you want to start?
What are the kind of movies Nikita Dutta wants to watch?
I just watch you're saying. I love watching rom-coms. Love. I recently did a Marathi film which came out 2 years ago. It was called Gharat
Yeah.
Ganpati. That was an out-and-out rom-com.
But you know, Kabir Singh changed all that for you. Did you get a lot of offers after that? Like, what happened?
Right after Kabir Singh, there was a good flood that came in terms of offers. Yes, Kabir Singh did help me in a way where Hi, this is Nikita Dutta and you're watching me on Rediff. I just came here some time ago and I have to tell you this has been one of the worst experiences I've had. I've absolutely hated the people who were recording me, who were talking to me, the one who's interviewing me. Just, oh my God, I don't think I want to ever come back here again. Don't hate me. Shit, don't hate me.
That was nice.
From Miss India to a TV Bahu to the jewel in a jewel thief's heart. Let's say hello to Nikita Dutta.
Thank you.
Welcome
Hi.
to the Rediff podcast.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
It's 25 years since Lagan happened, and I think when you were a child, you danced to Radha Kaise Na Jale. Is that correct?
Where did you read this?
I read it
don't
in
even know when I mentioned this, but no, this is true. This is very, very true. You know, as kids, we always kind of grew up watching these films, and this was our only source of learning how to dance and how to dress up and how to, like, you know, be a little dramatic. And I think Radha Kaise Na Jale was definitely one of those songs which I was obsessed with at that time, and I used to love dancing on that. Like, I feel like also, I mean, you know, whenever you like see and you watch all these girly songs back in the day, you used to really want to be like them. You wanted to be one of them. So like for somebody who's like barely 7, 8 years old, it's very impactful to suddenly want to do all of that. So yes, it had a huge impact on me where I was, I think somewhere I got my aspiring actor and dancing hopes from there.
So I was going to ask you that.
Yes.
Is that when the acting bug bit you?
I feel like I think it bit me as soon as I was born. But maybe the realization happened much later, much later in life. But yes, since I was a child, I was always fond of imitating whatever I would see on screen.
So from that, you know, you wanted to be an actor on screen,
Yeah.
to now doing a Karan Johar series. I
Yeah.
mean, that's like a really long way. So how has the journey been?
Johnny's been, it's you know, the thing is, whenever you ask me something like this and I kind of have to sit and reflect, suddenly it starts feeling like, oh my God, it's very unreal. But on a day-to-day basis, because you've really lived through it and you have dealt with it, you know, a small step at a time, tiny hurdle at a time. So at that time, it doesn't hit you, of course. But yes, it has been extremely eventful. It has been, I think, a lesson in its own self. I think my biggest life lesson is my journey. I always say that. So yes, taught a lot. You know, made me where I've reached today. So I always have nice things to say. But yes, I always take my journey as a lesson.
What made you sign up for Miss India?
I feel like for somebody who doesn't come with like a knowledge, space of knowledge, or from any kind of, I hate saying background, but like any kind of background that is connected to the film world, I feel like it's a great start, a great introduction to kind of come into this. More than anything, I also feel it's, you know, as when we were children, there was a whole phase where Miss India winning Miss World was very relevant, because I'm talking about the times of, you know, Priyanka Chopra, Lara Datta, these people winning Miss India. Like that all happened when we were children, right? So that was one of the reasons where you kind of start looking up to them and you start looking at this is the route that they've taken. 1. 2, I come from a military family, and I think it's very common over there for all these girls growing up to kind of, you know, grow up and try their hands at Miss India, because 1, I majorly feel it's the environment that you get. You get very, you get very ready for a situation which needs constant change. That's how we are grown up. Secondly, I also feel that there are lots of these in-house pageants that we have in the military. There's something called the May Queen. There's something called the Navy Queen. I took part in both of them, which kind of just
And you won.
somewhere, which somewhere just sets your mind that, okay, now next Miss India, you need to try. So I'll be very honest, not to like demean the pageant. I feel like me winning Miss India, or if at all I would have won Miss India, going for Miss World or anything of that sort, I don't know if I had an aim after that. I definitely knew I wanted to be a part of the films. But yeah, what to do after, I really did not know. So that's what I'm saying. A lot of people actually get into the pageant with the idea of entering films, which is probably not the right thing to do. I think about it now. But yes, I feel like that's our only pathway to take, which is very ethical and legit.
But you know, it looks so glamorous from the outside. We just see what they show on TV
Yeah.
and all that. But it must have been so grueling.
It is. It
Yeah,
is. It
so-
definitely is. You know, I always felt like, somebody who's well traveled within the country, and by God's grace, my father was always posted in like the bigger cities and not many small cities. So I spent a huge amount of time in Mumbai. And I thought that, it's going to be just regular Mumbai life that I was living when I go for the pageant. But it's a different kind of cultural shock that hits you, which you're really not prepared for. So I did have that kind of an experience where I'm just like, oh, this is, not something I kind of imagined. Yes, there's immense amount of focus on physical appearance more than anything. So yes, it takes you a while to kind of blend into it, to understand where your ground stands, what you actually want to do. And that's pretty much been in my case.
But like, what is a grueling bits? Like, what is the one food thing that you just could not have anymore after that?
There were lots of things I ended up quitting after I, was a part of Miss India in 2012. So it's been good 14 years. I have quit on a lot of things, and a lot of things are willingly. Like I've stopped eating Maggi. I've not touched Maggi in 14 years. Anything which is, from a fast food place. I never went back to McDonald's or Domino's. I never had those. This was all voluntarily. Some were very non-voluntary. I remember I used to crave, I have a sweet tooth, so I used to always crave for a lot of sugar, and that 1 month was just like they had kept you off it. But I think this is still the positive part of it, because I feel eventually all of this leads to a healthy lifestyle. I think more than anything, it's the way it is done. It's the approach that's taken. It's never to be fit and to be healthy. It's always to look skinny. Which I think is changing now. I hope that's changing now, because I feel like a lot of people now focus on looking fit rather than being skinny. So yes, I guess that time this was the grueling bit.
So what are the life changes? Like, how did your life change after you won?
I didn't win. That's what I'm saying. I did not win. But my life, yes, in terms of, I feel like I got a direction. Because when I was in college, of course, you're in college, you have all sorts of thoughts that what you want to do eventually, what you want to pursue. Similarly, I don't think I had like clarity in my thoughts. The one thing I was very sure after I came back from Miss India is that I need to figure out where my grounding stands. And I think the first thing that came my way, which was I became a host. I used to host a show on a channel called Zoom. So when I started hosting, I realized I really enjoyed doing that. I really enjoyed talking to the camera, interacting with the camera, and I think within barely any time I got comfortable with that. So I think that's where like my understanding that, okay, there is love for camera, this makes me really happy. I think that's where this kind of started. And eventually within that, I think I found my path.
And I think during that time, you gave a lot of auditions as well.
I mean, that's a part of the process.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I was very fortunate that I had, I don't want to use that word because I don't think that's valid in a profession like ours, but I had like a monthly job because I used to go to the channel, I used to host a show over there. So I never had the worry of like, do I have, do I get this assignment? Do I not get this assignment? That was never touch wood a worry for me. So somewhere I could continue giving auditions the way I liked. And still work and be in front of the camera as much.
So which is that one audition that, really changed your life?
One audition that really changed my life. I don't know, I feel like there could be tons, yeah. Like also we've lost count. Like I must have given like in, I don't know, like double 1,000 numbers I would have given auditions, yeah, in all these 14 years, of course. I really lost the count of that. But it's very funny when you don't realize what works and what doesn't, you know, especially when it comes to ad auditions. I remember initially when I would go for like auditioning for ads, eventually I had started thinking that you're just doing it, it's obviously not going to happen. And then, you know, by surprisingly something used to just work out. I feel like I can't pinpoint and say that this one particular audition changed my life, but I do give a lot of credit to doing a film called Gold, which came out in 2018. And I remember because I auditioned for it, I went through 2 rounds of audition for that film. They casted me in another film that was being made by Excel at that time, which was the short film for Love Stories, which was being directed by Zoya. And I didn't have to audition for that. And that was the film that Sandeep sir watched, and he decided to cast me in Kabir Singh. And that's how I got Kabir Singh, which just turned my life upside down.
So you don't have to audition for that?
I didn't audition for Kabir Singh. He saw me there and that's how he reached out. So when I think about it, I feel like, you know, everything is just connected. You don't know what leads to what. You don't know the intent with which you work. It might reward you in a way that is the most unexpected. So when I think about it, if you're really asking me, I think that the one audition for Gold definitely changed my life because it just followed.
Do you remember that audition?
Of course I remember, very, very clearly I remember.
Can you, like, what dialogue did you have to
that's
say?
a difficult one to do. That's a very difficult one to do, but I do remember. The first round was of course with me, then they had called Sunny, and that was my second round of audition with Reema ma'am taking it. But yeah, I clearly, in fact, I clearly remember what I was wearing as well. And if you give me some time, I'll be able to tell you the date also on which I auditioned.
The dialogue?
That's a bit much.
But do you remember like the dialogues and of your auditions, of your movies?
Not
remember?
auditions, but I'll tell you the one thing, I feel like I always credit television for that. The one thing that's really helped me because of TV is remembering lines. Like, I don't take a lot of time to remember lines. It just comes very easy. And this is not, I feel, like a skill or something. It's an acquired skill. Because in television, a lot of times when you're walking from your vanity or green room towards the set is when you're given the script. So you have barely like 10-15 minutes and you're just like mugging up whatever you can. So it just, your brain just becomes very quick in terms of understanding, or you have to also take light, you also have to give like a cue at this point. Like, you just become a quicker person. So I feel like when it comes to lines, I think that's something I've learned from there.
So how many pages have you like memorized in the most?
I mean, I think in TV, though, your TRPs basically are always dependent upon your monologues on the main lead girl crying. These are things that basically determine the TRPs of the television show. So that used to happen a lot. Like, I remember there used to be days when I used to just go back with a headache and like hurting eyes because in like, a span of 1 week, almost 4 or 5 days, I've just cried in the scene. So, lots of times you would get real tears, but sometimes you're so exhausted, you're just like, okay, now tears are not coming. You're putting things in your eyes, even then tears are not coming. So eyes hurt. And after all of that, you're sleepless and then you're mugged up so much, but your body's in such an auto-tune mode at that point, it just happens. Yeah.
And then television, I think, is so busy. I think
it's
no
very busy.
Holidays,
yes, no holidays. I remember
hours.
the first show that I remember doing, I had worked, I think, for 62 or 63 days straight.
Dream Girl.
Yes. I remember the first holiday that I had got was on the 1st of May because it was Labor Day. And I remember telling myself that, okay, this is the holiday you finally get because there was no argument. You can't make people work on that day. And a lot of times, because television follows the cycle where you kind of start receiving your checks 3 months later. So when you start shooting for something, you're actually working without any money coming in. So for someone who's starting off, I used to feel very trapped. I would always be like, what is this? This is just like unreal. It's inhuman. Like, it's against what your labor law should be. And this is just like, because there was just no life. Like, I lived on the set perpetually. So once I think the 3 months had passed, money started coming in, the show had settled, life became a little easier, like the schedules became a little easier. I think that's when I started enjoying it. Before that, I just felt like somebody had put like a gun on my head and said that you have to do it. Like, I used to have thoughts of like, what if I just run away? I'm on a contract. I can't run away like that. So yeah, so I think once everything got settled is when I kind of started, maybe wrong choice of words, but I started flirting with the camera. Like, I started playing with the camera. I started working on my dialogues and how I'm going to do this scene, approaching it in a different way. Because then my brain kind of opened up. And I think then there was no looking back. That's when I feel like I genuinely fell in love with acting, because also you were doing it every day.
Right.
To a point where I feel, till date, I feel like my most happiest and content days are when I have done a shoot and I've come home. Those are my most happiest and content days.
But Kabir Singh changed all that for you, because after that, I think your career completely changed.
Yes.
And did you get a lot of offers after that? Like, what happened?
I did. In fact, right after Kabir Singh, there was a good flood that came in terms of offers. But then it was 2020, and then there was a good flood of a virus as well, which kind of turned things around. But yes, Kabir Singh did help me in a way where a lot of people kind of started approaching me with different parts, which I think used to not happen earlier. That was one thing. And secondly, I think there was also that time where it was a little difficult for me to break away from my television image. Full credit to Sandeep sir for that. Like, I think that really helped me to break away from that image. Yeah.
But do you still, did you still have to audition after that? Do you still audition
I audition
today?
till date.
Yeah.
I till date have to go for auditions. And I have no complaint in doing that. I genuinely don't. I feel like it's the right way to do. It's unfortunate that a lot of people don't do it. But yes, till date. In fact, the show I'm doing for Dharma, I have auditioned for it and I have gotten it. I have not gotten it on a plate. Yes.
But, I've heard a lot of stories about casting directors. They make very weird requirements or very weird requests. Like, you have to maybe lose weight in 2 weeks or something something like that. Has that happened to you? Do you get any such weird, requirements for a role?
I mean, I feel like it's a part of it. One, a lot of times sometimes you have to look a certain way because the character is such. But if it's a generic character, I think then it's a wrong thing to do. But yes, I've had that. It's not like I've not had that. I remember in my initial days, it was you need to gain a lot of weight, and in between it was you need to lose some weight. But I don't know. I feel like for me, it's a lot of it is what intent is it coming from. I think somewhere I kind of try and gauge that is it really something that character needs or is it a you problem. So yeah. It's which way you take it. And also I feel like over these years, a lot of these things don't affect me anymore. When I'm like, you don't tell me if I need to, I don't need to. Yeah.
But is there a lot of body shaming? Like, does that happen to, young, I would say more female than male
it happens a lot more to females, yes, indeed. And I feel like also a lot of times we are setting very unrealistic standards of being a certain body type. That's one thing. Secondly, I don't know. I don't think I'm in a right place to comment because, as I said, when I did Miss India 14 years ago, there was a lot of body shaming, a hell lot of it. I don't know if it still is there. There is a section which talks a lot about body positivity. A lot about it, and there is a section which will, indirectly tell you to go on things that will actually make you look a certain way. So I feel like there are all sorts of people over here, and there are all sorts of characters for you. So if there is something where you don't fit a certain part, it is so. I mean, there's not much you can do.
But is there a lot of pressure for women actors, younger women actors?
Yeah.
Like for example, Khushi Kapoor said that she doesn't mind. She's open about it that she went through Under the Knife.
Yes.
So do you find that? I mean that is there a lot of pressure to look a certain way?
There is. I will give that. There is a lot of pressure to do that, but I feel like it's a more of an individual call. Like in my case, I feel like I've chosen to not follow the same path that everybody does. That's a very personal choice I've made. I don't want to, do anything. And I'm not saying I'm never going to do it. I don't know. What am I going to do 2 years later? I have no idea. But at the moment, I feel like it's one of those things that I've chosen, that I want to be internally fit over, look a certain way. One. Two, even in terms of my face, I feel like a lot of times in my head, I say, stick your ground. This is your USP. Don't go get like those skinny jawlines like that. It'll come around. This is my faith. So I could be wrong about it, but yeah, I guess it's an individual call.
But do filmmakers or do people tell you that you should get another?
I've had one filmmaker say that to me. And that project never happened. But no, I've also been very lucky to work with people who've actually had absolutely no issue with the way I look.
So what are the pressures that young actors go through? Like for example, the red carpet, that must be like, that looks it's so glamorous, the picture that we see, but what's gone behind that look?
It's 3 hours of work, getting ready, doing photos, brainstorming what to wear, and 5 minutes on the red carpet, barely like maybe 5 minutes at the event and you're out. So basically this is the ratio divided of your evening if you're attending a red carpet. That's one. Two, I feel like, yes, of course there's pressure because every time, of course, you don't want to be called out for bad fashion, one. Two, I feel like a lot of times, and I also do this, I'm very guilty of doing this, I'm not saying that I don't. I feel like we are always trying to please the taste of others rather than wearing something that we feel like we want to, we feel like this is fashion, we feel like this is what I look good in. This happens in my case a lot. Like, I'm always very open to taking opinions. So every time I'm just like, you know, I'm always a mix of opinions that I show up on the red carpet. Sometimes it's a success, sometimes it's not. So yes, of course, there is a lot of pressure to just, you know, have that 10 minutes of visibility because it goes great. It doesn't go great. Also not really that big a deal because I feel like with the number and bulk of events that we have today, where everybody is dying to be on a red carpet, I think people's memory is very short. Like, they'll forget.
But sometimes, you know, but then, you know, what about that look? Like, for example, I remember that red gown that you wore at an awards where it looked fabulous.
I'm so glad you remember a look of mine. That's so lovely.
It's
but I guess that's what I'm saying. Some of them turn out to be a success. Like, you know, it's one of those that people will remember. Whereas some you just, you know, are like, okay, this happened. It never happened. Let's forget about it.
So when you stop eating, like, you know, before a red carpet look?
Oh, I never stop eating. There have been times I've had dinner and then straight away gone because anyway I do early dinners. Red carpets generally happen around 7:38. So I have no shame in like doing all of that. I very nicely eat. I rather not faint or be miserable at the red carpet, but be with a smile, and that smile will come if my tummy is full.
So fashion or comfort, which one?
I'm always a comfort person, but my team will stab me if I say comfort. So I will have to say fashion out of pressure now.
So, you know, besides family, who is like the one person you go to for fashion advice?
The strongest advice givers that I have around me, in fact, it's not much of family when it comes to fashion. It is my core team. From, you know, my stylist, my makeup artist, from my manager. These are the people I actually always ask. And the one always thumb rule has been that all these people who work around me, they have the liberty to say their mind. They speak their mind freely. Because I feel like the best criticism is what comes from there. And if you allow them, their opinions matter the most. So, yeah, I think one of the biggest advice givers I have around me is always these people who work for me.
If you had to name, like, you know, a co-star or a friend or someone, whom would you say?
That's tough to say. I mean, my best friend's a stylist. Like, he's always my go-to person. But difficult to pinpoint like that. Yeah, it's difficult to pinpoint.
Like, oh, who would you like to go to?
Oh, who would I like to go to? Okay, that's not a bad one. Lots of people, I guess. I've always been a huge fan of Sonam Kapoor's fashion. I think she's one of the, you know, actors who kind of started setting trends way before people picked on airport looks and, you know, making any street the runway. She was pretty much the OG person to do that. I really like Malaika Arora's fashion as well. I think a lot of things that she manages to crack look really nice. Of course, that also comes from a really fit body. But yeah, but like these two people I really admire for their fashion.
So who's the one person you like to go to for any money?
How to make money?
Yeah.
I think that'll be Akshay Kumar. What I've been told is he's really good with when it comes to making money. In fact, somebody could really give me those tips because I've been told I'm very bad with it. So yes, I'd definitely go to him.
What about career? Like, you know, what role to take up?
What role to take up would be maybe I think Shah Rukh sir, because like he's also been very wise, and if you see in the beginning of his career, he never started by playing the OG romantic main lead hero. He started with all sorts of things, and he started also with television. So somewhere I think he would be my person to go for career advice.
And what about, you know, your love guru?
Love guru. I think nobody from the industry. No, I think that'd be... No, yeah, nobody can give love advice. No, everybody's wrong.
But then, you know, how difficult is it? Like, you know, for a young person, you know, an actor who always under the spotlight, you know, is romance difficult?
It is. It definitely is. I feel like because one is it's more difficult to meet people. You know, you're constantly judged if at all you're meeting in public. You know, even if it's somebody you're working with. stepping out can like lead to rumors. So I feel like yes, it is definitely difficult. More than anything, I feel the life that we live over here, which is so erratic, very unpredictable. Anything comes up at any time, and a lot of times I feel like what we think is work is not work for somebody who's not a part of the industry, and it's very difficult to have that understanding where they kind of understand the fact that me, say, attending say a random success party is happening or random award shows happening and me attending that is maybe somewhere beneficial for my work. It's very difficult to have this kind of communication with somebody who's not from this world. So yes, it does make dating very difficult. Yeah, I mean, you have to find your way, I guess.
Okay, so if we look at your movies / series, and looking at your co-stars, you work with so many big stars.
Yeah.
Can you tell us something interesting about each person? So I'll give you the name and you can tell me.
Go for it.
So Shahid Kapoor.
He's a very soft-spoken person. Like his normal voice, his volume of communicating is very soft. I mean, it's a lot to do, I think, with his personality on screen also, if you see. At least that's the side I've seen of him. And he's vegetarian. I've always seen him eat veg food. But yes, I think he's very soft-spoken. Yeah.
Akshay Kumar.
I've actually not dealt with Akshay Kumar, unfortunately, because while we were shooting for Gold, we just never had scenes together. But yes, I think he's one person I really want to work with because the stories I hear about him, especially his crazy fitness stories, I think there's a lot of admiration. So I want to kind of see it firsthand.
Abhishek Bachchan.
Abhishek Bachchan is very witty. He's very witty. He can be very funny. He loves chatting. He loves telling stories. And he'll tell you stories about like from his father's times, like, when he was a child and how he saw films. And they're very interesting to a point where there are times when everybody will stop doing the work they're doing on the set and just be standing around him. And he loves that. He loves everybody around him listening to his stories.
Saif Ali Khan.
Saif Ali Khan is... he's, of course, he's exactly how he is in interviews as the public has seen him. But he has the knack of getting... he can crack something at the weirdest times. Like, you have the most serious scene going on. Especially, I feel like whenever we had like a romantic scene going on, he always has to be funny at that time. And it gets so difficult to be serious because you're just absolutely unserious the whole time. But yeah, he gets like that.
Jaideep Ahlawat.
Jaideep Ahlawat is actually a very silent person on set. He will not speak much here and there. But if you sit and you chat with him, I think he has some very he has something which is always, there's always some wisdom that comes from him. Like at least whatever interaction I've had with him while we were shooting, it was always him very subtly giving me like a one-liner tip or something on those lines. So yeah, I always look up to him like, oh my God, इन्होंने कहा है तो मतलब ये correct है और ऐसा ही होगा.
Okay, Imran Hashmi.
Imran Hashmi, again, very mind your own business kind of a person, doesn't interfere at all. In fact, I think he's one of the most non-tantrumy, non-fit throwing kind of a person I have seen on set. So yeah, he's actually just the opposite of his screen image.
You were talking about Saif just now and how he's so, humorous when you're doing a romantic scene. So is it difficult? Is it difficult to do, intimacy scenes or,
It's not difficult. It just gets a little challenging.
Yeah.
Nothing else. But I feel like it works also because, sometimes when you're doing something really serious and you need to do, it's needed. I'll be honest, it's needed. And he has a way of cracking up. Like, even if there's like a light dada standing with a thermocol, he will start like chatting with him and cracking a joke with him where everybody else is laughing. And he knows it. He just knows it because he wants that to happen. But yeah, I guess that's a talent. I mean, if I start doing that, I'll look very silly. Yeah.
But what about is there an intimacy coach nowadays? I think that is there, right?
Yeah, but I think that's in a more graver situation where you are in that kind of a setup which needs an intimacy coach.
So you've not had that.
I've never done that scene as yet. I've not done that on screen as yet where you need an intimacy coach. Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about Nazdikiya.
Okay.
So are you allowed to talk about it?
Whatever's there on the internet is all I'll be able to talk, but go ahead. Let's see.
So what is Karan Johar like, first of all? Does he have all the gossip,
I wouldn't know about the gossip. I mean, I have a lot of gossip. I feel like everybody has a lot of gossip. But I feel like, I mean, whatever fair interaction I've had with him so far, I feel like a lot of times he's very misunderstood. I think there is a creative genius inside him. It's not easy to give us, films which have been which are cult films and they're loved even today. We are obsessed with them even today. Their songs, their clothes, their scenes, their dialogues. I'm talking about from Kuch Kuch Hota Hai to Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum, these are the films that we've grown up watching. My love for Bollywood comes from these films. So in my head, I feel like he is a creative genius. And he's actually this is my understanding, I think he's the most approachable and he's the nicest soul to ever have a chat with. Because my brief interaction, every time I've reached out to him, he has always responded. He's always responded with the intention to help and make life easier. So this is my impression of him.
So what are the kind of roles you would like to do?
I would like to do every kind of role.
Give me...
if I have to, but pinpoint, there is a part in me which feels very unused when it comes to action. I really, really want to do something which is very heavy on action. I feel like I was very charmed the way Katrina had done in all the Tiger films. Tiger Zinda Hai, Tiger, Ek Tha Tiger, all of those films. So since then, it's been in my head that I want to do something which requires me to throw some punches and kicks in the air. Of course, it sounds very easy, but no, I know that's a lot of work, but I really want to do that. I really, really want to do a good classic Bollywood song. I feel like that's been a longing. We discussed this in the beginning of our chat. Radha Kaise Na Jale. Before that, I was obsessed with Aishwarya from Hum Dil De Chuke Sanam. And it's always been that way. There was always somebody I used to try and copy and love to dance. So I feel like that's something I really hope I can have one of those songs attached to my identity, that this is a classic Bollywood song and oh, this was her song. But yeah.
Can I be really filmy and give you a really cheesy dialogue? Are you going to be okay with it? Say, मैं आपके बच्चे की माँ बनने वाली हूँ. That really cheesy type. Will you say that in different ways?
Okay, let's try that. Yeah, let's try that. Okay, go for it.
So you can say it in angry way, in the cheesy way, in the happy way, in the sad way. We can do a different things.
Okay, let's try. मैं आपके बच्चे की माँ बनने वाली हूँ. Okay, go for it. Give me the emotion and then we'll go for it.
Angry.
Starting with angry.
Okay. How do you want to start? Sad.
मैं आपके बच्चे की माँ बनने वाली हूँ.
Happy.
मैं आपके बच्चे की माँ बनने वाली हूँ.
Cheesy.
मैं आपके बच्चे की माँ बनने वाली हूँ.
Angry.
मैं आपके बच्चे की माँ बनने वाली हूँ.
Revenge.
मैं आपके बच्चे की माँ बनने वाली हूँ. Yeah, works?
Yeah.
Okay.
Was it good?
Do I pass? Did I get the parts?
That was good.
Yeah.
What about that? Does that does that affect you?
It's just one of those things which is a part of your journey. I mean, it's taken me a lot to come from this. So I feel like all of these are stepping stones. And in my head, you're being paired opposite a very successful actor. So yeah, it's okay. I mean, you be a prop sometimes and then you get not to be a prop eventually.
But then I think the very first movie that you did, Lekar Hum, I mean, there also it
that was anyway.
Very small
I never count that as my first film.
Yeah.
I feel like because that was just, that's what I used to do for a living. I was an anchor and a host, and I just exactly played that. It was always just like a cameo for me. So yeah, I feel like mentally my first film was always gold, which was, it's very close to my heart. I think that was the first film I properly worked on. So if you see it from that perspective, yeah, and these are all choices that you make. You have made a choice to not do a film which probably makes you the main lead because you don't want to be associated with any kind of maybe the subject or the people working on it or any sorts of those things. But you rather do a film which you think has meaning. So I feel like if you see my entire body of work, everything is not, if you pick up anything, none of that is something I'm not proud of. I can very proudly say that, okay, this I've done this. Yeah. Irrespective of the screen time.
So would you have done it any other way or this is...
If there are other things that were offered, then maybe I could say that. But I think whatever I was offered from the palette that I was given, I think no other way I would choose.
So how many like scripts are you offered today? Like what is a ballpark?
Today, as of now, nothing. But overall in life, as of now, I mean, I can't give you a number specifically. But yeah, lots of times scripts come, go. Unless it reaches that point where you actually start like getting on it. It's difficult to put a number to that. It's difficult. It's just that calls start coming a lot more when you have a release happening versus when you don't have a release happening. But then those calls out of that, maybe like, out of say 50 calls, one will be like relevant. So yeah, it's one of those things.
So it's difficult to choose a good like you're basically doing what you're getting. Is that it?
No, I think rather the way I like to see it is, not like to see it, the way I want to put it is that whatever is offered to me, I try and choose the best out of it. Yes, there are things I want to do, but it has to come my way then, or I have to like figure how to get there then.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thanks so much for
Thank
taking
you.
time and
Thank
coming
you
to
so
the Reinvent
much.
podcast.
Yes, of
Thank
course.
you very much.